I'm Editor-in-Chief Michael Roffman of Consequences Sound, and I'm here with an American icon, John Travolta. Mr. Travolta, how are you doing?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great,
Good.
Well, you know, this is an interesting movie, The Fanatic, directed by Fred Durst. And I wondered, how did you get acquainted with Fred Durst? Did you like his music? Were you a fan of his music?
Yeah, I was a fan, mostly of the videos though, because they were so uniquely directed, and he did most of them.
Yeah.
And then we met, like then, about film, because that was his primary passion, was movies.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what if you ever run across material that you like? Let's talk about it. It took years, I don't know, 10, 15 years, whatever it's been, but he finally presented me with this, and I loved it so much that I helped gather some production on it to get it done. So.
Well, with a character like Moose, is this something that hits hard and it hits home? Like in the past, have you had to deal with, fans like Moose?
I have, but it's never been traumatizing or upsetting. It's always been kind of well-intended, but maybe crossed the line by accident.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Yeah.
So it's not something that, I think Fred had more of a kind of specific take on it than even I did, even though I've been subjected to the relationship of fame for 45 years. I still think that he had more of a kind of think on it.
Yeah. Well, what was the earliest moment that, for you as an artist where you realized, like, oh my gosh, I have fans? Like, this.
It was at a shopping mall in Palm Springs. I went to visit my sister in Palm Springs on a weekend from Cotter.
Yeah.
And it was when I started to get recognized in the shopping mall from these young people that I realized I had arrived at some level of fame.
Yeah.
But of course, don't forget, in those days, 40 million people a week watched TV series. Now 4 million watch a big hit. So it's quite a big difference.
You got 30 minutes.
I'm on your side. You're the best, Mr. Dunbar. You're the best.
You need to learn some manners, buddy.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dunbar, but I have every VHS, I have every DVD, and you're so rad in The Warrior. I just don't want you not to sign my stuff.
You came to the place, but I'm officially done.
But boy, do you see the special items that I have. This is Space Vampires.
How would I sign your face with my fist? That's a collector's item you're not going to want to take home. Trust me.
Yes, sir.
How did you get into the psyche?
Mostly, it's one of those characters I felt like I had in my back pocket and could execute well once we discovered how he was going to look. And I knew how I would portray him, but it was really Fred that helped me get in the zone every day, because he would ask me questions about Moose. How you doing, Moose? Who'd you see today? And and then what did you have? And all this kind of thing. And we'd pay 5 or 10 minutes just hanging out in character. Yeah. And then I would do it with the crew too. I'd ask lighting and props and wardrobe too, and I would talk to them, and they would talk to me, and they were so good about it. Yeah. It's almost like they really didn't want John Travolta to arrive at all. Yeah. They just wanted to hang out with Moose, because he was so much fun to talk to.
Yeah. Well, that must have been exhausting though, to be just like the whole day.
Well, I loved it because I always find it far more interesting and easier on me to not be me. Yeah. I don't know. I hope that doesn't sound weird, but
no.
But I find it if I behave like someone else in a role, I get a little vacation from me, and I get to just think how they think and pretend how they pretend and all that kind of thing, which is kind of a vacation.
Oh, totally. And on that note, you've played villains, you've played heroes. What do you like to play mostly?
Who's ever written the best, I really get a kick out of good writing. Yeah. And, I remember I was Civil Action. I was Steve Zaillian, who's a great writer.
It's an amazing movie.
And he, thank you, he wrote, I was all this dialogue would be 5 pages, 7 pages, 8 pages. And I had to do voiceover, and I thought, oh man, I'm so exhausted. And I said, what do you want me to do? So he wrote, I started to read it. Oh my God, no wonder you're Steve Zaillian. I can't wait to do this. I was exhausted, but I still couldn't wait to do it.
Yeah.
Because it was so good that it just rolled out of your head and your mouth. And that's what good writing does. So I guess the answer to your question is, when it's really good writing is when I get the most excited.
Yeah.
Because it invites my character, or invites the attributes that I have. I can think with it. And it takes, it's half your job done.
I
Do you know?
totally see that, yeah. Well, if you had to step out of your shoes and you're looking at your career, what film or character might you be a fanatic of?
Well, not to be, kind of current or anything, but I really love watching Moose in this movie, in The Fanatic. I could watch him. I just can't get enough of watching him. But I do have that ability to disconnect from myself in a movie, meaning I can watch as an audience.
Yeah.
I could watch. I guess I like the more eccentric characters, so I could watch Edna from Hairspray. I could watch Shapiro from OJ.
Oh, yeah.
I could watch Vincent Vega from Pulp Fiction. I just watch them because they're so different than how I would behave that I find it entertaining to a greater or lesser degree.
Yeah.
And that's probably the truth of how I view it.
Well, your roots are in horror for the most part. I mean, Carrie was very early on.
That's true.
So, I wanted to ask, because we're huge Stephen King fans, you were in the first Stephen King adaptation, and now he's all the rage. I mean, he's like the biggest name in Hollywood in terms of creating new stories for the screen. Did you stay a fan of Stephen King? Or?
Well, I've always been proud of being the beginning of it. And he even came to see me in summer theater the year, the summer before Carrie came out.
Oh, wow.
So I've always had a soft spot for him.
Yeah.
Do you know? And then, of course, I kind of like the misery type of horror more than the cut 'em up types.
Totally.
You see?
Yeah.
So I've had a certain pride about connection. Yeah.
You're a big fake.